They said I was weak. They said silence has no power. They said the world only listens to the loud. But I have learned something louder than noise. I have learned the sound of truth, and truth does not shout. It stands. I am not a warrior of the sword. I am a warrior of the soul, and the soul needs no weapon, only courage. When I was young, I thought strength was measured in muscle and might, that the strong conquered and the weak obeyed. But the longer I walked through this world, the more I saw violence is loud, but truth is enduring. Swords cut flesh, but silence cuts deeper. The oppressor fears the man who does not hate him, because hatred is predictable. But love disarms everything. They called me a fool for not fighting back, but they did not understand. The greatest power is not to strike, but to stand. Not to answer hate with hate, but to meet it with something stronger. Peace forged in steel. You cannot break a man who does not hate you. You cannot conquer a soul that refuses to bow to fear. I have felt the sting of humiliation. I have been thrown from trains, beaten in the streets, mocked, spat upon, jailed, but never once did I allow the anger of the world to become my own. The true battlefield was not outside, it was inside me, and I swore the storm within would always be mine to command. People often think silence is weakness, but silence is a weapon few can master. It takes more strength to remain calm than it does to strike back in rage. When you are silent, you can hear everything, the truth, the lie, the fear in your enemy's voice. Silence is clarity, and clarity is power. I did not come to raise an army. I came to awaken souls, because no empire can stand when the hearts of the people rise together. You can chain a body, but you cannot chain a conscience. And a free conscience can shake the world. I told my people, if they strike you on one cheek, offer the other. Not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to show them their reflection. When they meet no hatred, they are forced to face their own. This is the art of non-violence. It is not passive. It is not cowardice. It is fire wrapped in calm. The world does not change when you shout louder. The world changes when your silence becomes too powerful to ignore. I walked with bare feet against boots. I stood with empty hands against rifles, and slowly they began to understand. You cannot crush a man who has already mastered himself. True power begins where fear ends, and fear ends when you meet the world with love, not anger, with discipline, not revenge, with silence, not chaos. They jailed my body, but my spirit walked free, because a prison can hold a man, but it cannot hold a truth. When I faced hatred, I did not answer it with hatred. I answered it with discipline. They called me mad. They said one man cannot bring down an empire. But empires are not defeated by might alone. They crumble when a single soul stands firm, and others begin to follow. I learned that the loudest noise in the world is not shouting, it's the quiet footsteps of millions walking together. No swords, no guns, just unshakable will. Non-violence is not the absence of courage. It is the presence of greater courage, to be struck and not strike back, to stand where others kneel, to keep your voice steady when the world trembles. Many think war is only fought on battlefields, but I fought a different war. Not with bullets, but with soul, with marches, with truth. The day I walked to the sea to collect salt, they laughed. What can salt do against an empire? They said. But that handful of salt was heavier than any weapon because it was carried by millions of hearts, and hearts are stronger than armies. People see silence as surrender, but my silence was not surrender. It was strategy, because a shout can be ignored, but silence makes the enemy look inward. And that is where they are weakest. Even when they struck us down, we did not curse them. Even when they burned, we rebuilt, because hatred makes you their mirror, but love makes you their lesson. I never needed to destroy my enemy. I only needed to show them who they had become. The British thought they were strong, but their power depended on our obedience. And the day we withdrew it, their empire trembled. That is the real power of non-violence. It turns the oppressor's strength into his weakness. It turns silence into thunder. I was not fearless. I felt fear like every man. But I learned to let fear pass through me like wind through an open door, because fear cannot stay in a soul that has chosen truth. I did not seek to be a hero. I sought to be honest. And in that honesty, a nation found its voice. Many said, why not fight back? Because violence creates winners and losers. But truth creates change. You can win a war with guns, but you can only build a nation with peace. They came with force. We came with truth. They raised their rifles. We raised our heads. And in that stillness, they saw something they could not defeat. I am not a saint. I am not made of stone. I bled. I cried. I doubted. But I returned again and again to the quiet inside me. The quiet where truth lives. The world remembers battles for their noise, but revolutions begin in silence. One whisper, one step, one soul refusing to bow. That was my war, and I won it not by conquering others, but by conquering myself. To the warrior listening now, do not mistake gentleness for weakness. Do not mistake silence for surrender. Do not mistake peace for passivity. A silent warrior is not without power. He is the most dangerous of all, because he fights not to destroy, but to transform. If your enemy shouts, be silent. If he strikes, stand. If he hates, love, because nothing confuses hatred like love. Nothing terrifies power like peace. Nothing breaks chains like truth. I am not remembered for how loud I was. I am remembered for how unshakable I became. Empires fall. Kings fade. Swords rust. But truth stands. I am Gandhi. I fought with silence. I conquered with love. I led with peace. And through gentleness, I shook the world. I am Gandhi. I am the silent warrior. I do not fight to destroy. I stand to awaken.